K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can, we're Americans.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show on K98 Talk. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good Thursday evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. We have a packed lineup tonight. We're going to be discussing Russians putting their borscht into American green energy, Brian Williams disgracing himself and making NBC look like an even worse crackpot station than they are, Rand Paul taking a stand against the nomination of Loretta Lynch for Attorney General. We're going to talk about some government theft. We're going to talk about government's unrealistic spending problem. And we're going to finish the show off maybe with a little bit of Obama's crimmigration. But before we get anything rolling, let me go ahead and give out the number. If you want to call in, talk about any of these topics or anything else that's on your mind, you can give me a call at 408-681-8255. That's 408-681-8255. We're going to start this off tonight talking about why the Russians think that it's good business to be in our green energy business. We got this shady little company out of Bermuda that has already funneled tens of millions of dollars into anti-fracking environmentalist groups in the United States. And it's being run by executives with solid ties to Russian oil interests and offshore money laundering schemes. And these are some of Vladimir Putin's inner circle type people. So, you know, this is not just your run-in-the-mill Russian investor deciding, oh, hey, let's take a look and see what's going on. These are heavy financial hitters in the world. And, one of these executives, Mr. Nicholas Hoskins, is a director at a hedge fund management firm that has invested heavily in Russian oil and gas. He's also a senior counsel at the Bermudan law firm of Wakefield Quinn, and he's the vice president of a London-based Bermudan law. I'm sorry, I just said that. And he's also the vice president of the London-based investment firm, whose president recently chaired the board of the state-owned Russian oil company Rosneft. So you can see he's definitely got ties going back to Putin. In addition to these roles, Hoskins is a director at a company called Klein Limited. No one knows where that firm's money comes from. Its only publicly documented activities have been transfers of $23 million to U.S. environmentalist groups that push policies that would hamstring the surging American oil and gas production, and that has in turn hurt Russia's energy-reliant economy. As a friend of mine said, and I have to paraphrase, I'm sorry, Brick, because I don't remember the quote exactly, but you said something very akin to, without oil, Russia's gross national product is in the crapper. And you are absolutely right, sir. With oil prices plunging as a result of our onslaught of fracking, which has induced an oil glut in the United States, many experts say that the links between Russian oil interests and secretive foreign political donors and high-profile American environmentalists suggest that Russia may be backing anti-fracking efforts in the U.S. Russian interests, more specifically Russian oil companies' interests, and American environmentalist financiers intersect at a Bermuda-based law firm called Wakefield Quinn. How interesting. The firm acts as a corporate registered agent, providing office space for clients and for some managing day-to-day affairs, according to their website. As many as 20 companies and investment funds with ties to the Russian government are Wakefield Quinn clients. Many list the firm's address on official documentation. Klein Limited is one such company, and documents filed with Bermuda's Registrar of Companies list just 2 individuals associated with this company: Hoskins, the senior counsel and managing director of Wakefield Quinn, and Marley Smith, a corporate administrator at the firm. According to the documents filed with Bermuda's Registrar of Companies, Klein was incorporated in March of 2011 exclusively for philanthropic purposes, meaning no part of their net earnings, ensures to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. So the company does not propose to carry on business in Bermuda, as these documents openly state. And hang on just a second here. We have a hot request coming across the line. That call number again is 408-681-8255. That is 408-681-8255. Thank you for the request. So this company, the only publicly available documentation of any business conducted by Klein were the 2 Internal Revenue Service filings by the California-based Sea Change Foundation, which showed that Klein Limited had contributed $23 million to the group in 2010 and 2011. Klein was responsible for more than 40% of the contributions to Sea Change over those 2 years. The foundation passed those millions among some of the nation's most prominent and politically active environmentalist groups, such as the Sierra Club, the Natural Resource Defense Council, Food and Water Watch, the League of Conservation Voters, and the Center for American Progress. They were all recipients of Sea Change's $100 million in grants over that 2-year period. Now, nobody can get any kind of comment out of Wakefield Quinn or Sea Change after multiple requests for information about their relationships with Klein Limited, which is interesting. I'm assuming that they also have no communication from Klein Limited, being that it's run by the same guy that runs Wakefield Quinn. So none of this foreign corporation's funding is disclosed in any way, said the Senate Environmental and Public Works Committee, as they wrote a report last year, said this is clearly a deceitful way to hide the source of millions of dollars that are active in our system attempting to effect political change. The Sierra Club, which received nearly $8.5 million from Sea Change in 2010 and 2011, launched its Beyond Natural Gas campaign the following year, The effort has become one of the largest and best funded environmentalist campaigns combating fracking and the extraction of natural gas in general. So, once again, we've got the left telling us how energy independent America is now and trying to take credit for it, while their other hand is allowing all this to go on some way behind everybody's back without anybody getting to know. Um, it's almost like a last ditch effort. Obama and his team know this is going on. They're doing nothing to stop it. They don't care because it's exactly what they want. They don't want America energy independent. They can say it all they want to. They don't want it. Because if they get it, if we get energy independent and we're sitting at gasoline that's right around the $2 mark, he can't drive his green energy agenda home. He can't tell you about how, oh, everything is so terrible and we're so reliant on these other people and blah, 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 blah. It's the same BS over and over from this administration. And, quite frankly, I was tired of it 5.5 years ago. Actually, I was tired of it 6 years ago. But, I don't know. I don't see how people can't be opening their eyes to this and see what a disaster this man is causing for our country. We do have time to fix it still. We are not so far gone that it can't be stopped. We're Americans, damn it. We don't lay down and fold up shop for anybody. So, don't think that it's all over and Obama's going to wreck this country. Oh, no, hell, he's not. No, hell, he's not. Because we're just not going to have it. And that's the end of it. I don't have to elaborate on anything else. Americans don't do that. And we'll fight it back, and we'll take back. We'll take what we can get, and we'll make the best of it because that's what we do. And if we can take it all back, we'll take it all. If we can take more than all, we'll take more than all. Either way, we're just going to make the best of what we can take. So, getting back to this, Sea Change has a little skeleton staff that shovels tens of millions of dollars around.
Call from
Michael.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
And anyway, Sea Change has this skeleton staff that's shoveling money out the door and annually combating climate change, the new buzzwords. It's not global warming anymore, in case you haven't noticed this winter.
Hey, Grouchy, we may have a caller on the line. Michael, can you hear us?
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Michael, good evening.
Is this TCC Grouchy?
Yes, sir, it is.
Hi, it's Michael Frisbee. How's it going, man?
I am doing fantastic, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Jody said we should all just call and chat with you tonight and just see what the heck's going on. So.
Well, why not? Why not? So what you want to chat about, Michael?
Excuse me. I was downloading the app to listen to you whenever she tweeted that out. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So that's cool. Yeah, climate change is kind of a big deal, though. We always called it weather when I was growing up.
Because if anybody's listening that is not following at Pastor Frisbee on Twitter, you are missing out on one of the biggest treats that Twitter has to offer. So get your button gear, type it in, and hit the follow button. You won't be disappointed.
It's FRISBIE. Otherwise, you're going to be connected to a porn site. So, yeah, you need to do that.
That's at Pastor FRISBIE. Don't misspell it.
That is correct.
All right. Well, it's nice to know that you're affiliated with both sides of the coin there with just a slight typo.
That's right. Hey, gotta laugh the sinners and cry the saints, or something like that.
Well, I got to tell you,
you know what Billy Joel said?
Finally get to talk to you. We've chatted plenty, through the keyboards, but it is a true pleasure.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm always impressed whenever I hear all these people that I've just built friendships with over the Twitterverse. Actually, hear them do their radio thing. I think, man, that is so cool. So I just gonna call and say, hey, man, it's cool that you got a show, and I'm very impressed with you. So, and if nobody follows you on Twitter, what in the world are they doing? They need to. You're the boss.
I have a hard time telling people that, but
record this and make this your drop right now. Follow at TCC Grouchy right now, because he's the man on Twitter. He owns Twitter. If you don't follow him, you are the lamest person who's ever walked the planet. How's that?
God. Oh, wow. What a resounding endorsement.
It is. I don't mind calling people lame, so it doesn't bother me.
There you go. So while I've got you on the line, what do you think about Russian
smart, Alex. It gets me in
energy?
trouble every time. I apologize, but no, it's cool. I think it's awesome you got a show, and now that I've got the app, I'll be listening more. So.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that.
All right.
I figured Thursday night you'd be probably starting to get into serious sermon writing mode.
Oh gosh, no! By now it's done.
Oh well, look at you! Aren't you the industrious one?
Well, you got to get into a rhythm for it, because if it's not done by Thursday or Friday at the latest, you just don't want Saturday spent that way. There's too many other things going on. I know college football's not going on anymore, but I mean, that is a priority for Saturday. So
I understand.
No, plus you just got work and family things that you do around the house and help people, and so you just gotta get a rhythm. You know how it's going to work.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I applaud you, because I wrote tonight's show at lunch today.
See, I don't want to have that kind of spontaneous creativity that you have, but you're so disciplined, though. See, I mean, you may have written it today at lunch, but you've been thinking about it at 5 a.m. when you've been working out every day.
Well, that's true. I do, when I catch stories that pique my interest, I actually put the links down so I don't forget the stories. And it's terrible when you start to get old. It really is.
You're telling me. Yeah, I know.
I've got a couple of years on me, but not a whole lot. But
we interact with some kids on Twitter that I start realizing they're about the same age as some of my kids, and that bothers me to no end, because I like to think of them as my peers, but they're not. They're little dumplings that are out there changing the world.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Dumplings.
Yeah.
You mean like
Jody? I got a couple of kids in their 20s. So.
Di and Laura and that crowd and Lex and
right.
A bunch of little dumplings out there.
Yeah, well, and see, and most people don't know this, but like Jody tells you all these things about her being older, but she's like 24.
Oh,
I mean, if you ever look at the pictures, it's easy to tell. But I mean, yeah, she's a kid.
Yes, I know.
She started having kids when she was 4, but still, I mean, it was just one of those things. So.
What, she grew up in a Muslim home?
I don't know. We're not going down that path. You're going to make this political, aren't you?
It's a political show. I mean, but we can talk about.
Well, okay, fine. Listen. Here's the thing. If my takeaway from the week, if I'm going to tell you the thing that has bothered me the most, is that the mainstream. I mean, Brian Williams has cracked me up, but what's bothered me the most is that the mainstream media has taken the burning of that pilot and because they have a love affair with Islam, has not known what to do, and basically declared it internal strife rather than recognizing it for what it is. I mean, the Jordanian leadership decided, hey, we're not putting up with this, and they stood up and stopped it. I don't remember who it was, but someone today mentioned that, and whenever we face stuff, Obama went golfing, and I thought that that's right. We have we can't have leadership in the White House soon enough to deal with this, because that stuff, it only stopped. There's only two things that have historically ever stopped radical terroristic Islam, and that is conversion away from that religion, or just a sheer show of force greater. You kill one of ours, we'll kill two of yours, we'll kill four of yours, whatever it is. It's just you've got to do those two things, or you're never gonna get anywhere with it. And they will wind up taking over anything they want to take over.
I can't agree more, and this is why we've got movements in Europe like Pegida going on in Germany. We've got a couple of other countries that are starting to put their own little anti-Islamic immigration groups together, and they're starting to make headway, and it's fantastic.
Well, you got to, at some point, somebody has to stand up. If we don't stand up, we will get stepped on.
Well, what was it? Just a few years ago, we had a Muslim community, which I'm going to go ahead and say it's a largely Muslim community in Dearborn, Michigan.
Dearborn, Michigan.
They had what they called a God festival that was supposed to be open to the public, and it actually culminated with a Christian group coming down to the festival and being run off, literally being stoned by the Muslims. They were throwing rocks at them.
Wow.
Concrete blocks.
And that's something. Well, and it's just, that's not in Iraq or Afghanistan or Jordan that's Michigan.
That's right. That's Michigan. That's Dearborn, Michigan. Or as some people like to call it, Dearbornistan.
Right. I know.
It's quite scary.
Well, and that's
the headway they're already making in this country.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying it's quite scary, the headway they're making in this country already.
Well, I heard actually a lady who was a bride of a Muslim who divorced and had to restart her life over. But she was talking about how they have the intention that they have multiple ways of taking over the world. One of them is force, but another one is population. And yes, that's exactly what they've done in Dearborn. They'd come in, set up camp, taken root, taken all the key roles in the local government, taking key roles in the business and commerce, and raised and had as many children as they possibly could. And next thing you know, that's what you have.
That's exactly right. And they're doing it in London too.
That's true. That's true. Hey man, I appreciate you. I don't want to dominate your show. I'm sure you got like 30 or 40 other calls lined up, so I'll get out of your way.
So, but I'm gonna thank you very much, Michael, and I look forward to talking with you some more.
Hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you. It's a good show. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Michael.
Uh-huh.
All right. So a little diversion into the infestation of Muslims in our country and what they're doing. But that doesn't deter us from the agenda. We know they are a problem, and they will continue to be a problem until dealt with appropriately, just like the good pastor referenced. So we're going to dive back into Russians with their borscht in our green energy. And when we last left our hero, Sea Change was shoving millions of dollars out their door and combating climate change. And that's about pretty much all they do. Noted Inside Philanthropy, which awarded the foundation its Sharpest Laser Focus in Grant Making award last year. Have you ever heard of such crap? I mean, this is almost as bad as the Oscars or the Grammys or the Golden Globes. Which I think the Grammys are this weekend, and I still don't give a damn. So anyway, Nathaniel Simmons and his wife run the foundation and are, except for Klein Limited, it's only donors. How about that? It's only donors other than Klein. Simmons is a hedge fund millionaire who commutes to work across San Francisco Bay aboard a 50-foot yacht. How lovely for him. He runs a venture capital firm that invests in companies that benefit from environmental and energy policies that sea change grantees promote. Simmons has ties to Klein, and several Wakefield Quinn attorneys are listed as directors of hedge funds that his firm manages. He's starting to see how all this comes together now. So you got Sea Change has assets. Senior counsel Rod Forrest is listed on documents filed with the SEC, and that is not college football SEC. That is the Securities and Exchange Commission. And as a director of two investment funds, Medallion International and Meritage Holdings, in which Sea Change had tens of millions invested while it received the money from Klein Limited. This is just one big dirty money circle. And for the life of me, I really can't see how this can be legal. But, if it is, maybe something should be done about it. Maybe something shouldn't be done about it. I don't know. I don't know if this would fall under what Citizens United wanted or not. So maybe some further investigation on that aspect of this. But Simmons' company runs the Meritage Fund. The Medallion Fund is run by Renaissance Technologies, a hedge fund management firm run by his father, a billionaire and Democratic mega donor, Jim Simmons. Both funds listed Wakefield Quinn's Hamilton, Bermuda address on their SEC filings. Wakefield Quinn's Hoskins and Smith, as well as a number of other employees of Wakefield Quinn, have worked in some capacity for companies or investment funds owned by or tied to Russian state-owned corporations and high-level officials in the country. So now we've got the Russian government basically funding offshore accounts. We'll call it legal firms, but it's basically an account, which is funneling money to a hedge fund, which is funneling money to, we'll call it a legitimate philanthropic charitable group of the left, which is in turn handing out the money to all the little leftist machines and having them do their bidding. So, we got Hoskins. We also have Forrest and another Wakefield employee named Penny Cornell are all listed as executives of Spectrum Partners, a fund with offices in Moscow, Cyprus, and Bermuda. Cornell at the address of Wakefield Quinn's offices, and according to a performance report for one of Spectrum's partners funds, its portfolio consisted of, quote, Russian and CIS, which is former Soviet state securities, and securities outside of Russia or CIS, but having significant economic or business involvement with Russia and or CIS. So, as of 2008, more than half of the fund's holdings were in the oil and gas sectors. Surprise. Numerous executives at Wakefield Quinn have ties to Russian oil and gas companies, including Rosneft that we mentioned earlier, which is majority owned by the Russian government. Surprise again. And it's also the largest oil company in the world. Hoskins is the vice president of the London-based company called Marcod Services Limited and a member of the firm's board, according to its website. This guy's got a lot of hats that he wears, and it seems like all he does is make sure that everything is supposedly internationally legal. The company's president and chairman of its parent company, Bermuda-based Marcod Holding, is Hans-Jörg Rudloff. Rudloff is a former vice chairman of Rosneft's board. So now you've got this this hedge fund being run by a former chairman of the world's largest oil company. And Hoskins is also a director of the Bermuda-based subsidiary of a Russian investment bank, Troika Dialog. That firm organized an initial public offering for Taiman Oil and Gas, which is run by Russian oligarch Alexander Lebedev. The Environmental Policy Alliance, which provided the Washington Free Beacon with a free copy of an upcoming report on Klein Limited's Kremlin ties, said that Wakefield Quinn's ties to environmental financiers and Russian oil barons merit closer scrutiny. The American public deserves to know whether environmentalists are attacking U.S. energy companies at the behest of a Russian government that would like nothing better to see their international competition weakened. Makes sense to me. I mean, really. Like my boy Brick said, without oil, Russia's GNP is in the crapper. So anyway, that's enough about them. Really, I'm about tired of it. And we're going to flip the page here after a break and move on to another topic. So if Mr. Producer can cue the commercials, we will hit it and be back with you soon.
You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Come listen to my story about a man named Jeb, a poor millionaire who could keep his family fed. But then one day he was talking to his pops. His pops spouted off, Jeb should try for the tops. Top office, that is. Presidente of the United States of America. The next thing you know, old Jeb makes a run. The whole time his brother says, this'll be fun. So now for 2016, that's how Jeb became the GOP's hillbilly. Now come on and vote for Jeb now. Y'all hear? Ta-hoo!
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, and on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern and 11 Central here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
This is Misty, owner of Wax It Studio in Edmond, Oklahoma, and I'm here to talk to you about a skincare product called Theramedics. Theramedics has a wonderful line of products from anti-aging to hyperpigmentations all the way to acne. In fact, everyone at some point in our life is affected by acne. Acne can cause a great deal of embarrassment and anxiety, and in order to prevent and help other people, I have tapped into this wonderful product called Theramedics. Visit my website at www.prettyskindeep.com. Again, that's www.prettyskindeep.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Long of Liberty Unfiltered. If you're tired of hearing the same Republican and Democrat banner from the mainstream media, join me on Wednesday nights at 9 H Central as I crawl out of the cesspool of partisan politics and bring the fight for freedom against the advocates of big government to the masses.
Oh, but ain't that America? For you and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
All right, welcome back. Glad you stayed with us through the break. We're going to spend just a quick second on this embarrassment that is Brian Williams, because quite frankly, he just doesn't deserve any more than that. Brian Williams tried to apologize most pathetically last night when he said that he didn't correctly recount what happened, referring to the fact that he was not on board a Chinook helicopter that was brought down by RPG fire during the Iraqi invasion in 2003. Although that is a claim that has been repeated by the network for years, and they knew it wasn't true, and they never did anything to disparage anybody from repeating it. Williams repeated the claim Friday during NBC's coverage of a public tribute at a New York Rangers hockey game for a retired soldier that had provided ground security for the grounded helicopters, a game to which Williams accompanied him. In an interview with Stars and Stripes, he said he had misremembered the events and was sorry. Now look, folks, I'm all about letting people slide on an honest mistake. You know, if you tell me that 12 years ago on a certain day you were wearing a brown sweater when in fact your sweater was blue, I'm probably not going to give you crap over it. But if you tell me you were on board a helicopter that was shot in the ass by an RPG and you crash landed and spent a couple of harrowing days in the desert wondering if you were going to make it out, and then you suddenly remembered, oh, no, I wasn't on that helicopter. That's where I blow the bullshit whistle. So Brian Williams had already taken NBC and dragged them down to the 6th layer of hell. Not quite the 7th yet, but he's well on his way after this. It just amazes me how NBC propagated this lie for him. People at NBC knew it was a lie, and nobody blew the whistle on him. It took soldiers coming forward that were actually there in Iraq in 2003 to bring this out to the light. NBC was happy to continue the lie. And quite frankly, I would have just as soon NBC fired his dumbass, because that's what he deserves. I mean, really, listen to this. Here's Brian Williams. Let me read you some of what he actually said on the air trying to apologize. He said, quote, "I would not have chosen to make this mistake. I don't know what screwed up in my mind that caused me to conflate one aircraft with another." This was his little bungled attempt at an apology. He was actually trying to thank the soldiers that helped protect him, and in doing so, he lied his ass off, and has been over the last 13 years. And it's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, you simply don't forget which helicopter you were on. Was it the one that was shot down, or was it the one that wasn't shot down? This is nothing more than what they used to build Brian Williams up to be this super credible journalist. And he's just a little piece of garbage. That's all he is. He's a little piece of garbage who doesn't deserve any more of our time on my show. So I'm just going to stop right there and say that's the end of Brian Williams. I don't care to talk about him anymore. So we're going to move on to Rand Paul, and he is vehemently open about his opposition to the nomination of Loretta Lynch for United States Attorney General. And he unveiled his opposition to Lynch on Greta's On the Record on Fox. And quite frankly, I'm going to go on record as saying that I'm a little more than impressed that he actually had the stones to stand up and say it. He's never really been one of a punch puller, but he's always been more of a how shall I say, a neutral diplomat kind of guy. He'll say what he wants to say, but he says it in such a manner that you think that it may not be as bad as what he's really feeling. But he didn't have any problems talking about this, and quite frankly, I'm behind him 110% on this. Unfortunately, we have the John McCains and Jeff Flakes and Lindsey Grahams, and we got idiots like that running around that are just foaming at the mouth to approve Loretta Lynch as Attorney General. Oh, they'll play tough during the confirmation hearings, but when it comes right down to it, they're going to vote her in, even knowing what she's done. And please forgive my occasional sips of water here. I'm still fighting a cough. But Loretta Lynch, let me tell you folks, if you haven't read anything about her, get busy doing your research. This woman is smarter. She is bolder. She is more driven and less afraid and frankly more dangerous than Eric Holder ever thought about being in the office of Attorney General. Now, Wednesday, in his office, in the Russell Senate office building on Capitol Hill, the senator's legal and press team briefed him a final time before the interview. Sergio Gore is Paul's communications director. His press secretary, Eleanor May, and attorney Brian Darling were all present. Paul asked the team about Senator Cruz's question during Lynch's Senate Judiciary Committee confirmation hearing about whether she'd oppose using a drone to kill an American citizen on American soil. When Paul heard about her non-answer, meaning she wouldn't commit to the federal government does not have such authority, he became quite ticked. And he was really appalled that Lynch came out in favor of Obama's executive amnesty, because that means right off the bat she's willing to not enforce laws, which is, the primary job of the Attorney General. That's like law enforcement numero uno in the country. So he's really building the ammunition stockpile up, and the federal government. He was also upset about the asset forfeiture and seizure of personal property with flimsy reasoning, something even the Obama administration has offered slight opposition to. And then he told his staff he's going to oppose her and aim to derail her nomination chances. His quote was, "Oh, she's going down." Now, he continued by saying, "I think that ideally you want an attorney general who, if there is a problem, would be independent and objective looking at the executive branch." And he also said this previously too. He told Breitbart that a week ago. It's the kind of attorney general you want is somebody that will enforce the law no matter who's breaking it. I mean, really, that's what we all want. It's what we deserve in an attorney general. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Libertarian. I don't care if you're Green Party. I don't care what the crap you are. If you're breaking the law, you deserve to be punished accordingly. So, that being said, we've got Paul continuing on that Rand Paul said that Loretta Lynch's position on civil forfeiture alone would be enough for him to oppose her nomination, but her position on the executive amnesty was even more troubling. The separation of powers is probably the most important underpinning of our constitutional system. If her position is that the executive branch can write or amend laws, that would be a real problem. Now, wouldn't you think? I mean, wouldn't that just make him king? I mean, we already joke around and talk about him being king because he actually acts like he's a king, even though he says he's not a king, but he does kingly type things. And circumvents the Constitution. He takes for granted powers not enumerated by the Constitution to the President of the United States. And unfortunately, even with a Republican-controlled House and Republican-controlled Senate, they sit around on their sorry butts and warm their chairs and let him get away with it. While there is a very small group that includes Rand Paul, people like Ted Cruz, David Vitter, Jeff Sessions, Mike Lee. It's just absolutely ridiculous that we have to hope and pray that there are so many people out there that are willing to let this happen in the United States without putting their foot down and saying, no, follow the damn law. So Paul went on to say, for several months now, I've called on the Senate Majority Leader to halt confirmations of every nominee, executive and judicial, other than the vital national security positions, unless or until the president rescinds his unconstitutional amnesty. Woo! Yeah, that'd be a nice fight. I'd like to see that. Says we have an opportunity in front of us right now with Loretta Lynch, a nominee for Attorney General who has fully embraced and flat out promised to implement the unconstitutional amnesty. Senator Sessions chimed in, if you haven't, I can't go into everything Jeff Sessions has been doing on immigration because I could do a whole show on that man. He's brilliant. I'm very sad he's not throwing his name in the hat for president because I think his message would resonate with many, many Americans. And just do your homework, please. Jeff Sessions, Obama's immigration. It will floor you, the work he has done. And we're going to press on because time is getting tight. We're going to move on to our government theft. And I hope Diane is listening, but I know she's probably at another meeting, and that's okay because I'm going to give her props here. Not that I'm a huge fan of this man, but Tom Brady, the quarterback of the New England Patriots, is facing a $60,500 bill from the IRS for winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, you heard that right. Americans for Tax Reform, this is Grover Norquist's group, said that Brady will have to pay $42,000 on his share of the $97,000 he earned for playing in the championship game And then he will owe another $18,500 for giving away the Chevy Colorado pickup truck that he won for being MVP. That truck, by the way, he gave to fellow player Malcolm Butler, the young rookie from University of West Alabama, which is just up the road, a small piece from me. He gave that young man the truck. And in addition to the $18,500, well, no, as part of the $18,500 tab on the truck, $5,000 of it comes in the form of a gift tax. $13,000 would be income tax on the prize itself. So with that in mind, Brady is being taxed at the top rate of 39.6%, which is the highest allowable. In addition, since this is a wage, he will also owe the top Medicare tax bracket of 3.8%, half of which will be picked up by the NFL. Put those numbers all together, and Brady pays $42,000 in federal taxes for the game, and you add the other $18,500, or I'm sorry, yeah, $42,000 plus $18,500, and you get $60,500 for Tom Brady being a successful football player. Again, our government taxing people's earnings instead of other crap like expenditures, and giving a truck to a young man who may or may not be in pro football in a couple of years. Who knows? Right now he's famous, but he's famous for one play, and one play does not a career make in the NFL. So, Tom Brady, for what it's worth, God bless you. Thank you for doing this good thing, and I'm sorry the government is screwing you. So, anyway, now let's we're going to glide through this next one, and I hate doing that because, man, I've really got some good stats on this. I might just save that. You know what? I think I will. I'll save that for next week. We're going to talk about the government's unrealistic spending, because I've got some numbers that you might have to have a calculator handy just to fathom what I'm going to be talking about. So, anyway, we'll slide on down to one of my least favorite topics, but something we have to discuss, and that is Barack Obama's crimmigration. Yes, and that is my coined phrase for criminal immigration, which is exactly what Obama is pitching and selling and pushing. And speaking from the Oval Office, Obama made that sales pitch directly urging illegal aliens to sign up if they qualify for what he calls, quote unquote, his executive action that will allow them to stay in the country despite violating the immigration laws. He continued, quoting him, "So I'm going to want all of you to get information so you can sign up if you qualify as well. All right?" said Obama. In the same talk, he referred to 6 young illegals he met within the White House that he classified as dreamers. He described them as individuals who came here at the age of 4 months or 7 months or 9 years old or 10 years old, oftentimes not realizing that their status was any different than that of their classmates and their friends and their neighbors. Now, Obama also uttered again the phrase that just turns my stomach, "Todos somos americanos," we are all Americans. No, we're not. No, hell, we're not. We have immigration laws in this country for a reason. Obama is violating those laws for a reason. His reason and the reason we have immigration laws are not the same reasons. Trust me. So now we have another quote here. Let me read this. It says, And because of the executive actions that we took with respect to Dream Act kids, and because of the executive actions that I announced late last year with respect to many of their parents, what I've heard is life is transformed, said Barack. Obama also said that he will veto any bill that attempts to stop his unilateral actions on immigration. And I am confident that I can uphold that veto, he said. At the end of his talk in the Oval Office, Obama called on additional dreamers and illegal aliens who qualify under his Crimmigration Act to allow millions of illegal aliens to stay in the United States to, quote unquote, sign up for it. And to all the dreamers who are out there, this is Obama still going on, and to all the dreamers who are out there and all those who qualify for my executive action moving forward, I want you to know that I'm confident in my ability to implement this program over the next 2 years, and I'm confident that the next president and the next Congress and the American people will ultimately recognize why this is the right thing to do. Now, it's not the right thing to do. We're not going to come around to it. He knows this. And right now, Congress is, not Congress proper, but I know my 2 senators and my United States representative have all received email from me asking them to pull the purse strings shut on any program related to this amnesty deal. I want it completely defunded. I want to see some funding put into deportations. And I want to see, I want to see a lot of things. I want to see these illegals not being held at luxury hotels. I'd much rather see our homeless veterans there, and I want to see some more opening of military bases, allowing homeless veterans to come on base and have room and board in exchange for work around the facilities there. I feel certain there are tons of veterans out there that would just kill for the chance to move into a room and have a roof over their head and be willing to work for it during the day. I just have no doubt of that in my mind. I know the spirit of too many veterans. I spent enough time in the military myself. I was very fortunate that they trained me not only just with usable skills for one career, but actually 2, and quite possibly even a 3rd if I were to dedicate a little more time to some training and learning about it. So, Obama, you can take your crimmigration, your executive amnesty action, and you can shove that. And don't let it hit you where the dog should have bit you before you bit him, if you catch my drift. And with that, folks, it is now 3 minutes after 8 o'clock, and we're going to button this up so everybody can switch over to listen to Unapologetically Bunny. Go give Sam some love and support, and I will catch you all next Thursday, same time, same channel, different agenda. Love you, mean it. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Oh, but ain't that America? For you and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't